Today we're going to be talking about the Hunters 3D course as we continue the breakdown on the Train to Hunt Challenge. See if we can get you a little more knowledge to help you do a little bit better this year than maybe you've done before. Or if this is your first year, do the best you can possibly do. So for those of you who don't know a lot about the Hunters 3D course, it's a lot like a normal 3D course that you would shoot on the weekends, except for two of the big differences are the scoring. It's a different scoring system, which we'll cover today, and the specialty shots, the hunter scenario type shots. You know, that's your 2 arrows in 10 seconds, your 30-second holds, your kneeling shots, all that sort of stuff, which I'm going to do a separate video for because there's a lot of material to cover for just one video. So I'm going to start with breaking this down, the Hunters 3D course, because there's a lot of facets to it, into 4 categories that I really think make this up. And I'm actually going to list these in what I feel their importance is to your success. So that's why number 1 is going to be your shot process. Oh, I spell that right? And execution. This is how you set up your shots. And my theory behind this is you could have, you know, kind of bad yardage, but have a really great shot, and that shot will save you. But if you have a bad shot, good yardage will not save you. And this has to be repeated on all your shots, not just in here, but once you get to the challenge course. You got to have this on lock. So I'm going to try to convince Phil to make a video about it, maybe over at Championship Bow Hunting, something like that, which reminds me, he's also done a podcast on this topic. You can head on over there and check that out. But back to the matter at hand, shot process. If I can't get Phil to help me with that, I will find someone very knowledgeable because it's a very, very important topic, and I just don't feel I have the skills to give you what you really need to truly be as successful as you can in this challenge. 2, yardage estimation. Why is that number 2? Well, it's number 2 because you're going to have to be able to do it on every target in the Hunters 3D Challenge course. This one I will help you with. This one we will cover today. So we'll get into that more in a minute. 3. Specialty shots. A lot of points up for grabs if you have not practiced your specialty shots, or if you have practiced your specialty shots, you can make a big gap on your opponents. Now, this lot there, so like I said, it's going to be a separate video. And then number 4 is your equipment. And setup. Now an argument could be made that that could be number 3, maybe even number 2. Really depends who you talk to. Equipment and setup, you know, are you going to come in with your hunting rig, or are you going to treat this like a true competition and make a setup especially for it? Maybe a little bit fatter arrows, you know, glue-in points, things of that nature. Maybe even talk Phil into doing a video for us on that, as that is really his field of expertise. Like I said, if not, I will find an expert to help me make a video for it. So brushing these aside now. Let's get to yardage estimation. how does this work? How do you estimate yardage? Well, there's one way I like to do, and that is to come up with 3 different estimates for each target. And then from there, we'll go over a few ways you can use those numbers to actually execute your shot. The first way you can use is, I'll demonstrate here. Here we got you. Got your bow, arrow, got the target over here. Put a smile on you because you're shooting your bow. Put a smile on that. Put a smile on him because you're shooting your bow. And how this works is I go by tens. I know what about 10 yards looks like, so I'll say here's 10 yards here, here's 10 yards here, here's 10 yards here, and I then look and say, alright, what's left there? Well, you look and maybe you think it's about 7 yards. So that gives you your first number, 37 yards. You can also do this coming backwards. Count tens from him and then see what's left when you get to your end. I like doing it that way. You might like it better. Try it out, see what works for you. You could also go start at 20 yards and then count by tens up. That's another method. I happen to find this to be one of the most efficient for me. Another way, so we'll call that by tens. Another way, and this is the way that works, I know for a lot of people, and that's instinct. The minute you walk up to that target, you look over at it, and you think, man, that looks like 36 yards. There you go. Your instincts are telling you, your skills that we have developed as human beings to estimate yardage, and your time you spent already shooting helps you come up with one of your numbers. Next, we have what I like to call the crossover method. People also call it splitting the distance. One of the best ways I think to show you this is going to be an aerial view. Here's you. This is your left side, this is your right side. Here's the target. Here's the target's left side, the target's right side. So to do this, what we're going to do is you walk up to the target, you'll spread your feet shoulder width or more apart like so, and then you'll stand directly over where your left leg is, so your whole body will be here, right? Over here on the left, that's where it'll be. And you'll draw a line with your imagination on the ground to the back right side of this animal. Okay? Then you go over to where your left foot is, or your right foot is. Stand directly above that. Over here. And draw it to the left side of the animal. Same imaginary line across the ground. And what this should give you is roughly halfway point between you and that target. So then you can look at this distance and say, man, that looks like it's about 20 yards. Now you've only have to estimate half the distance, which for most people, estimating shorter distances is a lot easier. So you may find this super handy that now you just go multiply it by 2, gives you 40, and boom, third number, 40 yards. Alright, we now have our 3 numbers. If we want, we can average that out. The average comes to about 37.6. We'll call it 38 or 37.5. You know, depending on what you're shooting for sights, you may say, you know what, I only have fixed pins, I got a 40-yard pin. That's great. We'll talk about that a little bit. What to do with these numbers now that you have it. And this brings us to the scoring part of this Hunters 3D course. So you got your target. Heads over here. Normally, got that little bonus, bigger 10 ring. You know, this is usually worth 11 or 12. This is 10, this is 8, this is 5. That's no man's land out here, big Zeroville. Instead, we're trained to hunt, and this is where things change up, is that 12's gone, out of here. This is all now 5 city. Everything in there, hitting the line, touching that line, worth 5. That 8, gone. Now I'll get you 3. And what used to be 5 city, now 1 Sylvania. 1 digit. That's it. 1 point. That whole big body. No man's land, Zeroville, stays the same. Now this is important because this can help you with your game plan. And now you have this number, you got fixed pins, or if you even have an adjustable pin, helps you formulate a game plan of how to get the best possible score here. Say you got your number right, you're feeling confident, you're shooting fixed pins, you're like, alright, I got a 40, I got a 30, maybe you have a 35. In this case, we'll say you only have a 40 and a 30. You think, alright, what's the best plan of attack? What I would recommend you do is put your 40 pin, boom, right there on that line. Aim for that. Right there, bottom of that line. Why is that? That's because even if you're off, right? Even if you're short a few yards, it might be really 38, like you estimated. You're in 5 city. It might be 35. Still going to be in 5 city. With bows, as fast as they are, you might be able to go up into like the 33s. Still catching 5 city. That could be a 7-yard swing for you and still be in the 5 zone. As long as you go with that higher number and float your way up in. You could also go, I know it's 38. I've got my numbers. I'm great at this. I've been practicing. Heck, put it right on. You're shooting nice tight groups. You're going to end up in that 5. But that way of setting the higher number and floating it in is a great way to hedge your bets going into this. Now, practicing this. How do we practice judging yardage? Well, there's a few ways. One of the ways I would recommend is something I call the ball game. Take a baseball, football, whatever you have, throw it out away from your target, head over to it with your bow and arrows. Use these methods to practice judging yardage. To go over to the target, then you range it, see how you did. Just keep throwing that ball around, checking it. Other one is just ranging. What do I mean by that? My buddy Jimmy, really good yardage estimator. He's, over the past few months, gotten to the point where he can guess within half a yard what it is from him to the target. And how did he get that good? Really simple way. he kept his rangefinder in his truck, and every time he would get in and out of it, go into it, he'd look at something, use these methods to estimate the yardage, and then check it. Just doing that over and over again, he was able to reinforce these good habits and get better at it. It's a skill you can develop. You know, it's not something you're just born with and you're good or you're not. You can become very, very good at this. Third way, and this is a way a lot of you guys are going out there going to be shooting 3D courses and stuff. Take your rangefinder with you. Get some practical applications for it. If you don't need to score it, if you don't need to compete, use all these local 3D events as practice for these big events. So go try all these out, check it with your rangefinder, and keep a notebook. This is something I can't stress enough. Levi Morgan, one of the top archers in the game today, he logs all this information, and you should too. Log your workouts, log your food, log your shooting. Log your shooting. See what targets are giving you problems. What distances are giving you problems. Was it a tight tunnel you're shooting in? Was it dark? Was it an open field? Did the target look big? All that information is going to be one of the biggest advantages you have to get better at yardage estimation, because you're going to look back and you're going to notice trends. Oh, you know, the standing bear, I'm always going low. You'll know to add a few yards to that target. All that stuff. Write it down. Write it down. If you don't have a notebook, get one. Right here. Here it is. My notebook. Got 3 of these. Got 3 notebooks. One for food, one for workouts, one just for this. Yardage estimation and archery. My whole game plan laid out so I can be as competitive as I can possibly be. Now, any questions? All the videos are now posted on Train to Hunt explaining what the competition entails. So if you haven't been there to check those out, check them out. Hit us up at naturalbornhunter.com. Check out the podcast, Championship Bow Hunting, Phil's site. Check that out. Or you can reach me at will.r.bradley@gmail.com with any questions, or hit me up on Facebook. It's just that easy, people. Get out there. Become the best you can be. Work, hustle, hunt. Get out of here!